What's up guys, my name is Ace, and the Season 2 Reloaded update for Modern Warfare 2 is here, and this came with a lot of changes, including a bunch of weapon balancing changes, and normally that's the video I like to get out first after a big update like this, but unfortunately in the game's current state, they also broke custom games, at least for me. I'm unable to get 2 accounts in the same custom game at once, so I can only do single account testing, which does limit what I can test at this point. As a result, I'm going to push that video off until I can get 2 accounts in the same lobby so I can do the proper testing for you. And instead, today we're going to be focusing on just some of the miscellaneous changes, some of the things that I've noticed, some of which is in the patch notes, and there's also some hidden changes that came with this update that aren't currently in the patch notes. But before we get into that, a quick note about the gameplay. Yes, I'm playing against bots in the background. That's just so I can get this out as soon as possible. I don't have time to sit down and grind for gameplays because I'm quite simply way too busy doing the detailed testing that not many other people even attempt to do. But diving right in, the main thing I wanted to cover in today's video that wasn't mentioned in the patch notes at this point is they have finally listened to the beta complaints about the streak calling in animations being too slow. Especially just the streaks like UAVs or counter UAVs where you pull out that smartphone. Now, pre-patch, I did a comparison with Modern Warfare 2019, calling in 2 of these style of streaks in a row as fast as possible, and the difference here is ridiculous. It's so much slower to call in a UAV and then a counter UAV in Modern Warfare 2. So like I said, since the beta of the game, we've been asking for them to speed this up. They have finally done this, so let's have a look at the comparison pre-patch versus post-patch. And as we can see, it is noticeably sped up here. Instead of having your gun unavailable to aim down sight for 5.6 seconds, which is a very long time for calling 2 streaks in, it's now going to take a total of 4.4 seconds. So this is a noticeable adjustment here. It's definitely a bit faster, and I noticed that right away. However, even when we compare post-patch with this compared to Modern Warfare 2019 in its current state, this is still significantly slower than Modern Warfare 2019, so a step in the right direction for sure. I personally would have liked to see them speed this up even more, but at the very least, I am happy that it has been sped up at least to some degree rather than just staying the way it was forever. So this is good news. It's finally been sped up. I think this should have been done ages ago since this has been a very common complaint for a long time, and I'm sure it couldn't have taken them that much effort to fix this. But in either case, that has been sped up a little bit. Next up, a lot of people have been noticing Tactical Sprint got messed up shortly after this update, and it isn't working properly, at least at the time of recording this video. However, Infinity Ward has tweeted and confirmed that this is an unintended bug, and they will get a fix out for this. Maybe even by the time this video goes live, that may already be fixed. I suspect it will be fixed at least within like 24 hours or something, so I wouldn't worry too much about that one. That was not an intentional change to Tactical Sprint. After that, something that I always test after a big update when it comes to this game, even if it's not stated anywhere in the patch notes, which it never has been, this is the interaction between Ghost and Suppressors. I'm sure many of you guys are also curious about this. Unfortunately, with this update, the interaction between those has not changed. So if you're using Ghost and you fire your gun, Suppressor or not, it will disable your Ghost perk for about 3 or 4 seconds, which then of course leaves you exposed to enemy UAVs, even though you're using the perk and the weapon attachment that's designed to prevent that from happening. So I'm still hoping this is something they can address in the future. I've been trying to reach out to get an answer on this from the developers, but I'll keep you guys updated if I do get a response about this. Next, I wanted to mention a quick update about Ricochet anti-cheat as well. They did release a statement here, and also I was invited to a call early this week, and they did talk about some of this stuff. A big thing with Ricochet is now, if you get banned in any game from Modern Warfare 2019 on, that ban will apply to every single one of those games. So any game, Modern Warfare 2019 and on. So that's great news. If you get caught cheating in, let's just say Cold War, for instance, you will also be banned in Modern Warfare 2. And that's great to hear. I'm all for anything that will further discourage people from cheating. Additionally, something that I didn't see mentioned in the public post, but they did talk to us about this behind the scenes, they also mentioned they will be purging any cheaters from leaderboards, so you won't have to deal with looking at the leaderboards and everybody near the top is an obvious cheater. Those guys will be scrubbed from the leaderboards, which is excellent. Now, let's move on to a great quality of life improvement they introduced with this update, and I wanted to show this off. This is the new accessibility options for flashbang grenades. You can now make it so your screen turns black instead of white when that hits, so it'll be a lot easier on the eyes, especially if you play in a dark room. You're not going to be blinded in real life by the flashbang grenade anymore. If you guys are having a hard time finding this setting, go to Interface and then scroll almost all the way to the bottom. It should be second from the bottom. It may vary on PC slightly, but that's where you can turn that on, and I'm personally going to leave this on. I think that's a great improvement. Next, a fairly minor but still annoying thing has been adjusted with this update, and this is great news, especially for PC players. When you start up the game, sometimes you'll notice you have the update requires restart prompt, and then you have to be the one to click yes on that, so then it restarts. They've just made that an automatic process now, so once that pops up, it will automatically restart the game for you. And I think that's how it should be. If it is necessary from a technical perspective to restart the game, it should just do it automatically. Like, why should I have to select yes in that case if that's what has to happen no matter what anyway? Additionally, something I wanted to point out here that I'm really happy to see, 10v10 was not removed with the playlist update. And since this was brought in as a limited time mode that usually only lasts for a week or maybe two, it's nice to see that they didn't get rid of it with this update. To me, that likely means the player count for this is quite strong, and therefore they're going to keep it around in order to maintain that consistent player count that's on 10v10. And that's exactly what I was hoping to see there. And then finally for this video, since we're not getting into the weapon or attachment changes, like I said, that will be coming in the coming days once I'm able to get multiple accounts in the same custom game. I just wanted to share my early initial impressions of the new map, which you guys can see in the background. And I've got to say, aesthetically, I think the map is great. And also, I think individual sections of the map are really interesting as well and offer some interesting room for engagements. However, I do feel like this map is just way too big for 6v6. I'm sure this plays just fine for 10v10, but this map is really disjointed, and it almost feels like there's several small maps kind of combined into one here, and that just doesn't need to be the case. On one hand, I do like that we finally have our first brand new original map since launch in Modern Warfare 2. I can't believe it took this long to bring it. But on the other hand, I'm really not a fan of how they chose to lay this map out. Now, of course, that is just my opinion, and it is based off a very early initial impression. Maybe my opinion will change over time with this. Maybe I'll warm up to it. But so far, I'm just not liking this map. And with that, that's where we're going to wrap it up for today's video on a bunch of miscellaneous changes and some hidden changes that came with this update. And this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What are you thinking about the Season 2 Reloaded update so far for Modern Warfare 2? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the fact that they sped up the animations for calling in streaks. Do you think that was enough? Are you happy with this change? Or do you feel like they should have taken that even further? Additionally, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on the new map, as well as the new marksman rifle that just came out, which, by the way, we'll have a gun guide for that. Hopefully by the weekend, it should be up. With that as well, though, I am waiting on custom games to be fixed so I can do the proper testing with it. But yeah, just in general, please let me know your overall thoughts on the Season 2 Reloaded updates so far. Are you guys generally happy, or not so much? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.